Okay, so this is kind of a random video, but this is one of the many reasons that the true crime community on YouTube is just insane. Okay, and why I say that there's a such thing called true crime Karens. They're a whole group of women who are just overly emotional, don't seem to understand the law and all that shit. So if any of you guys have followed the Stephen Stearns case, Madeline Soto case, whatever you want to call it, then there's been an outcry from the public. Okay, and these creators don't really help it too much that the mother's guilty and the mother should be arrested and this, that, and the other thing. And again, it's like, let's just put our faith in law enforcement that they know what they're doing in this case. Okay, so I'm scrolling through the comments. This is one of her interviews, one of her many interviews. And in fact, in this specific interview that took place April 18th, 2024, she was there with her attorney. So this was about little over a month and a half after the crime occurred. Okay, she's subpoenaed to come down, speak with the police, with her attorney, and clearly they had some type of proffer agreement or arrangement prior to this, because in this interview she's offered what's called derivative use immunity, which basically means that, well, you know what, I'm not even going to explain it. I'll let the detective explain it here because he'll do a better job than I will.
All right, this is an investigative subpoena, so you've been compelled to be here. And in our country, under the Fifth Amendment and the 14th Amendment as applied to you under the Florida Constitution as well, you cannot be forced to incriminate yourself. So anything you say today can't and won't be used against you unless you just don't tell us the truth. And I've already explained to your attorney, Mr. Bark, whether or not you've made any inconsistent statements in the past, that is dirt under the bridge, and either a misdemeanor was committed or it wasn't. But we're not going to be using that as a basis of some sort of perjury by false statements, because those other charges wouldn't be perjury anyways. So the most important thing today is to tell the truth. I also explained derivative use immunity, which means if you said that there was a gun, and obviously there's no gun in this case, buried in your attorney's yard, we couldn't go dig up that gun if you told us that, oh yeah, there was the gun that was used is right there. We wouldn't be able to do that. We would have to show that we learned all those things independently from this interview.
Okay, so they can't use her testimony or any evidence that she told them about against her. They would have had to find the gun in some other way, right? Independent of her testimony. So there you go. Now, that doesn't mean that she committed a crime. That just means that what she's saying in this testimony cannot be used against her to prosecute her. Okay. That doesn't mean she has full immunity. There's different types of immunity. This is a better immunity than just regular immunity, but it's whatever. You could look it up and read about it, which clearly a lot of people here just don't do. So I'm reading the comments down here, and I see this person, Brandy Osman, 8394, and she writes, "I'm going to start a petition. Jennifer Soto needs to be arrested." Right here, perfect example of a fucking true crime Karen. And then if you go under and you read the replies, you got all these other true crime Karens. "I'm with you on that. She needs to be sent down for a very long time. I'm sure prison justice would be arranged for her. I have signed many." Oh my God. Oh my God. Here's a person with a fucking pen. I don't know. I can't see that. Let me know where it will be, please. Oh my God. Here we go. Here's somebody who's actually smart. She does have immunity no matter how many people sign a petition or complain. She's still getting by with her part. So, yeah, that's a great comment there because, like, do these people not understand? You can't just petition somebody into jail. First of all, we have fucking rights. People have rights, constitutional rights, and we all have those rights no matter who we are. Every single American citizen has the same fucking rights. So if you get, involved in a crime of any kind, we all have the same rights. And then, due process. I mean, you can't just throw people in jail because you don't like them or you think that they're guilty. You actually have to have committed a crime, and there has to be an investigation, and, there has to be evidence, and then they have to be sent to court, and they have to go in front of a jury. and that jury has to convict them, right? But before they can even go there, they have to go through a grand jury and be indicted. Then they have to sit through the jury trial, and then they have to be convicted and sentenced, and then they'll be sent to prison depending on their sentence. We can't just send people to jail because we're fucking making petitions. Like, how stupid are these people? Seriously. They shouldn't even follow this shit because they just like they're so angry and upset, and I understand their emotions. Their emotions are right. You know what happened in this case is absolutely horrible, and I even understand their anger towards Jen Soto. It's, justified in a sense, but there's no evidence so far that there's been any crime committed by her. Has she made some very weird statements? Absolutely. Has she made bad choices in her life regarding herself and her daughter's safety? Absolutely. But that's not a fucking crime. You can't just send somebody to jail because they're naive and gullible and maybe a little involved and neglectful of their child. I mean, obviously, if they're severely neglecting their child, that's a crime. But, if they're neglecting to make good decisions for their child, you can't just send them to jail because, they made their child sleep in a bed with their boyfriend. I mean, is that weird? Yeah. Is it stupid? Yeah, but it's not illegal, unfortunately. So, you can't just, she did not commit a crime here. Okay. Is she guilty of being a maybe bad mother in some senses? Yeah. But she's not guilty of any crime. Or at least there hasn't been any evidence found to show that she's guilty of an actual crime so far. And the other part is like this person said here, she's got immunity. Okay, your petition is not going to erase an agreement that was made between the prosecutor, right, the government, and her attorney and her. That's not going to happen. You're not going to sign a petition and they're going to be like, oh, well, 100 people signed this petition, so you know what, Jen Soto, sorry about your whole immunity thing. Yeah, we're just going to send you to jail because there's a bunch of upset Karens on the fucking internet that signed some stupid petition, so yeah, we're sending you to jail. Sorry about that. That's not how this shit works. Like, I can't believe these people. Like, you're seriously going to waste your fucking time writing up a petition to send somebody to jail when that's just not how our justice system works? Like, is this real life right now? I mean, this shit has to stop all across the board. And then people are like, oh, I signed a petition. You signed many. There's other idiots out there doing this. Like, that is just not how the justice system works. You cannot petition somebody to jail. That's just not how it goes. Okay. Look up due process and learn something about our justice system and things that are put in place to protect, everybody's rights, not only the right of the people, who were victimized, but the people who also committed crimes because they have rights too. Okay, once they're convicted, they lose some of those rights, like the right to own a gun and stuff like that, voting. But they cannot just be thrown in jail because we just don't like them and we think that they're bad mothers. That's just not how it works. So it's just unfucking believable. Like, dude, just do some homework. You know what I'm saying? Like, learn the basics of the criminal justice process because this is not the only time I've seen shit like this. I see it in almost every case that I watch, that these fucking Karens just get way too overly emotional about these cases. And I understand the emotions. I understand it's very upsetting. But here's the thing. I would rather Jen Soto, who, yes, was maybe not the best mother, okay, and made terrible decisions regarding her 13-year-old daughter, okay, and seemed to not know that her daughter was being molested. I'd rather her be on the streets than a guy who was in possession of 35,000 images of what do they call it now? CSAM, child pictures. If you guys know what I'm saying, okay. I'd rather that guy be in jail, okay? Because those 35,000 pictures, I'm sure were not just of one little girl. I'm sure there was many, 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 many other little girls in those photos, okay? And so this guy, to me, if I have to pick between the lesser of two evils, well, I'll take Jen Soto on the streets. That guy could fuck off and go to jail and stay there for the rest of his fucking life. I don't need him on the streets. Okay. So if it's going to take her um, testifying in his case against him and having immunity, I'll take it. I'll fucking take it. You know what? She can live with herself for the rest of her life that she was a horrible mother. But do I think she's out there, targeting other little girls? No, I don't. Do I think she's a danger to society? No, she's a danger to herself and her child, but I don't think she's a danger to everybody else around her. That man is a danger to the entire fucking community, wherever he resides, and probably beyond then, because he's also an internet predator. I could guarantee that. So, again, you need to understand how these laws work and how all this stuff works. If you look at the Harmony Montgomery case, right? Kayla Montgomery was offered some type of deal, okay, or immunity of some sort in exchange for her testimony against Adam Montgomery. And that's what put that guy in prison and just guaranteed that. Now, just because somebody gets immunity, it doesn't mean that they're, um, guilty of anything. It just means that their testimony can't be used against them. It's an agreement that their attorney came up with. And again, that's another right that we all have, is a right to an attorney. We also have a right to remain silent. She doesn't even have to testify. She could totally refuse to speak with police, and she has that right. Fifth Amendment right. But she also has the right to attorney, which she utilized that right. And her attorney set up this proffer arrangement or meeting or whatever it's called, where they came to terms with the prosecutor that she would have derivative use immunity. Okay. So that her statements and any evidence learned of cannot be used against her. If they wanted to prosecute her, they would have to do an independent investigation. They can't use her statements from this against her, or any evidence in this case against her. They'd have to find the evidence some other way. I know it's kind of confusing sounding, but so that's what they're doing. It protects her, and it helps the prosecution, because people are going to be more willing to speak and say what they know if their rights are protected. Having an extra layer of protection over their rights. Petitions are not going to erase that, okay? So you're wasting your fucking time, and you're wasting other people's time. And I really wish that the creators who have these comments would either educate the people in their comment section about why that's a stupid idea, or delete these kind of comments, because like this is what happens online in the true crime communities. These people are such fucking Karens. They're so overly emotional. All logic, reason, and critical thinking just goes out the window, because they're mad and they're upset. They're like, let's just throw somebody in jail. We'll sign a petition and that'll do it. It's like such a bullhorn Betty thing to say, you know. It's the same thinking that she has, where she thinks that, people should just go to jail because she thinks that they're guilty. No, fuck due process, fuck evidence, and all that other shit. Let's just send people to jail because we don't like them and we think they're guilty. It's just not how it works, dude. So spread the message, because this shit's getting old. And not only is it getting old, but it's a huge waste of time for everybody involved, whether you're the people writing the petitions, the people signing the petitions, or the people that are receiving the petitions, okay? Like the people, involved in the prosecutor's office or the police or whoever the fuck you're sending these to. You're just taking valuable time and energy and resources away from the more important things, which are getting child predators like Stephen Stearns off the streets. So cut it out with this shit. Put faith in the justice system and let them do what they got to do to put these losers like Stephen Stearns in prison for life.